It also motivates me to look for her right then and there. Although I don't have to look very hard, she's in the student council room, as always. Worryingly, Misha isn't with her. When Shizune notices me and looks up from her paperwork, the first thing I ask is where she is. I don't know. There's so much uncertainty in her answer that I can't let it go just like that. She's missing a lot of school. Are you the attendance police? That's really strange coming from the student council president. Shizune hides a laugh behind her cupped hand, and I start to think that I might be worrying for nothing. But then her laughter slowly fades away to a more serious and pensive expression. You're right. Yesterday. I catch a hint of a knowing smile on her face when she sees my poorly hidden panic at the word. Despite her best efforts, she can't help being satisfied and eliciting surprise from everyone else to the very end. Even then, I can see that she has bigger concerns from how quickly her smile vanishes. Before either of you noticed me, I saw what you were saying. I'm not stupid. If I hadn't, I could still see through Misha while we were walking back, even if she hadn't told me everything later. She didn't make a big deal out of it, but any way you look at it, it's my fault, isn't it? What did she tell you? Shizune winces at the question, though it's clear she's been expecting it. She follows up with a very grand gesture. A lot. Like that I can be selfish and confusing. I try too hard to bring people around me and then push them away. I didn't know what I should do. I thought she was right to mention all of those things, so I just agreed with her, but that only made things worse. I don't understand. Adjusting her glasses, she looks pretty tired. I hope it isn't because she's been busy avoiding Misha, but I can't help considering the possibility, seeing where this conversation's going. It's true, even the student council being this small and us always being swamped with work, it's my fault. I might have even ended up driving a lot of people off and away from the student council acting like that. Shizune wags a finger mischievously, acknowledging that might is an understatement. However, from how warily she does it, it's obvious the humor is only to put me at ease and therefore not genuine. Like Lily, for instance. She was the first person to join when I started trying to recruit people again after everyone else left. Because they couldn't stand me, I guess. We managed to put together the last festival and even ran a booth together at the last minute. But I didn't like her because I thought she was selfish, always holding us up in order to attend to one friend of hers or another, leaving Misha and I alone to sort out things involving the whole school by ourselves. If there were any problems she was going through, she would leave us high and dry while she panicked over it, and wouldn't come back until it was solved. She would focus on it 100% and be too preoccupied to focus on any student council work. That was the worst to me, that she could be so nice and still take so many people for granted. Why even join the student council then? It seems so short-sighted and selfish, don't you think? But it's actually me who's that way. Like Misha said, it's always trying to pull people close to me and then shutting them out. That's how I've treated her, which makes me a bad friend. And it feels like it did the same thing to you then. So I guess I'm a bad girlfriend too, even if Misha says that you might as well replace her. I'm angry that I screwed things up enough for it to get this out of hand. All I wanted was to... She paused to look for the right words, tending her fingers in concentration. Make people happy, I think. Even though that seems like a simple way to put it. As she rests her head against her hand, Shizune bangs all delicately across her eyes, hidden behind those bullish glasses reflecting just the tiniest bit of light. It may be wrong to think so, but right now she seems especially beautiful, like a more complete person. Feels like this is my first chance to respond to her outpouring of emotions, replacing Misha, Shizune's interpreter. Misha must be joking. It took all my energy to keep up with her just now, her signing filled with gestures that I have never seen before. Likely their habits are picked up from Misha and developed from years of them being together. I could never replace someone so close to her. Wait, maybe that flashback CG. Maybe Shizune didn't have glasses in the past? I don't know. Or maybe she just didn't have her glasses on. Speculation! I like it because I like it, not because I got tricked into it by you. Despite how hard she tried, anyway, I continued to stare back into her eyes, as sharp as ever. First time I saw them, they had seemed a bit intimidating to me, like the eyes of a predator. That hasn't changed, which I find reassuring. I still want to make everyone happy. Starting with Misha. Shizune looks a bit annoyed that I would imply she would start with anyone else, and smiles confidently, as though a friend's sadness is a physical opponent she can just strangle into submission. Of course, obviously, naturally. Taking off her glasses, she leans back. Whoa, she looks totally different without her glasses on. That's weird, isn't it? Just like, makes so much of a difference. Taking off her glasses, she leans back in her chair and lets out a sigh. It's the first time I've seen her without them on, but I don't get a good look before she slips them back on. Of course. But I'm too tired to start today. First thing tomorrow. Do you want to help? Yeah. And I have other student council stuff you could help me with while you're at it. Although it turns out that there isn't much other work at all. This bad ending is going to take a while longer than I thought it would. And then it goes right into it. That'd be random. Well, it might, I don't know. There's no school today, so I expect to be able to sleep in late. Unfortunately, I'm awakened by someone mercilessly pounding on my door at 8 in the morning. At first, I think it could be Kenji, but when my shouts of annoyance are unanswered, I realize it's Shizune. She immediately backs away from the door when I open it, quickly concealing something behind her back. Kind of ominous. What's that? Is it a surprise? I don't really like surprises. The displeased expression on her face says that she wants me to stop being such a wet blanket, but she's too busy fumbling with what's behind her back to sign it. It must be frustrating for her, because seconds later she swings the object out proudly and also a little dangerously. Ta-da! A picnic basket! We have lunch together, the three of us. It's not really a basket, it looks more like a plastic bag. Taking a quick look inside, I can see that most of the food inside is also store-bought, not homemade. Some items still have the price stickers on. There's a very diverse selection here, though. Even a tiny tin of caviar. I'm slowly becoming more impressed with this lunch. I pick a grape out of there and pop it in my mouth. We're back to grapes! Don't just take things like that. I spent all night perfecting this final weapon. Shizune places it down on the ground to free up her hands, and immediately starts playfully tapping it between her feet like a soccer ball. Definitely not what you should do to anything you're going to call a final weapon. All part of my get Misha to stop being so depressed plan. I stayed up all night working on it. When we tried to order in last time, Misha barely got anything, and used it as an excuse to leave early. I won't let her get off so easily this time. The food is already here. She'll have to sit down and eat with us. It's the perfect bait. Doesn't everything look irresistible? I tried to make it myself, but I don't know how to make it look all fancy, so I end up buying everything. Still looks delicious, doesn't it? It should be. She's very perky today, juiced up on the thought of cheering Misha up, although it's odd to see her so happy about it. I know that she's just as unsure now as she was yesterday. What the fuck? I sound a bit like Christopher Walken now. That is his name, I think. Whatever. By viewing it as another sort of challenge for herself, she can put her worries aside and throw herself into it recklessly. It has worked well enough for Shizune so far. It wouldn't surprise me if it's the only way she knows how to do it. It's a little early, though. It's already 8 in the morning. That's late. Misha gets up at 8 or 9. She goes to bed at 7 p.m. But that isn't important. It's very important. Shizune ignores me, gagging my hands by taking them in hers instead of a more proper ribbon. The way she lingers against me a moment longer than expected feels really comforting. The point is, she's awake right now. Walking around somewhere. Let's go find her. She sprints out the door impatiently, and her gusto as she drags me along looking for her. Misha makes me feel more like I'm following a hunter on a safari than looking for a mutual friend. We don't have to look very hard. Even cropped short, her pink hair stands out. The fact that she's just meandering the grounds out in the open makes it even easier. I'm sounding like a safari hunter, and here we see a wild Misha in her natural habitat. Now we have to be very careful as we approach her. You don't want to get too close, because this type of creature can be quite loud, and it will pierce your ears. Misha! Huh? We were just looking for you. It's a good day for a picnic. You should join us. We even have caviar. Not sturgeon, of course, but really tasty. Caviar? Sturgeon? Apparently finding it annoying to have to explain anything in length with only one hand, Shizune gives up quickly. Fish eggs. What? It tastes good. Sorry, Chi-chan, I think I'll pass for the day. When Misha starts to walk away, Shizune holds the bag out towards me, needing me to take it so that her hands could be free. As soon as it's out of her hand, she darts in front of Misha, cutting her off. I made so much food, though. Sorry, I'm not hungry right now. When are you going to be hungry? Shi-chan, that's impossible to know. You can guess. The tension between them infuriates Shizune, and she's trying to deal with it by trying to tear fruit. That approach isn't going to work. I'd thought and hoped that Misha had gotten herself together, but I guess she was just cut too deep by what happened. In that case, it's really out of anyone's hands. I believe that Shizune might understand that on some level. If she didn't, she wouldn't have any doubts at all. She can't speak. Though I've learned to notice her hesitation. It's very clear. She might as well be screaming. Misha waves her hands in front of her, not wanting to continue the discussion any further, and quickly slips away. Shizune fumes silently, reluctant to let her go, but having no way to keep her here. As Misha's back grows smaller in the distance, I wonder where she's heading up to. Is Shizune wondering the same thing as she bites her lip in frustration? I want to touch her reassuringly on the shoulder, but I stop myself, not knowing if it's the right thing to do. Not because she looks fragile, vulnerable, or sad, it's the opposite. After a while, her expression bellies no emotion at all, only contemplation. Suddenly she whirls around. Now all this food is going to go to waste. Yeah. It makes me mad. Although it's obvious that it is more hurt than mad, the bag dangling from my hand feels like it's filled with lead. Let's go on a date. Let's use it then. Where do you want to go? I don't know. The roof. It's my favorite spot. A wry smile appears on her face, disappearing just as quickly. On the roof, I immediately crack open the caviar, ignoring that there is a look from Shizune all the while, and to put it down immediately. Where are the toast points? I didn't make any. Like I told you, I bought everything. Not toast points though. Why is that important? Anyway, they don't sell just toast points. That would be stupid. I bet they do. Maybe in stores for the exceptionally lazy, but not here. Why don't you use a tortilla chip? Tortilla chip is not the same. They're both triangles. Stop being such a princess. I didn't know there was a proper way to eat caviar. This is the first I'm hearing of it. Same for me, man. I've never had caviar and have no desire to have caviar. It just seems like that posh food, doesn't it? It's like posh for the sake of it. Or, oh, it's expensive and fancy. So I hear, anyway. Because that's the only context you ever hear of caviar. Well, for me, anyway. When people bring up caviar, it's usually in that posh kind of way. It's like, stop being such a princess, Hisao. Well, excuse me, princess. It's not the same thing at all. I can't be addicted to whatever like this. And anyway, how can she not know? She lives in a huge mansion. Shizune takes the opportunity to scoop half the tin onto a single chip in the meantime. You know, it makes me wonder, like, we're going for the bad ending first, but with her other ending, will we actually hear anything more from her family, like Hideaki and her father? Because, like, that seemed like it was gonna go somewhere, you know? But it's kind of like, when they came back to school, it just felt like Shizune's route was momentarily derailed as Kenji and Yuko took over quite a bit, and then it went back to it, but it was more of a focus on Misha. And I was right, it was going to be a love triangle. It was just the way the love triangle played out was totally not what I was expecting originally. Hey, I'm sure it doesn't even taste good like that. There's too much food here for two people because we can't communicate with each other while we eat. Both Shizune and I have a lot of time to sit in silence and think about the fact that Misha, the version she set all this up for, isn't here. It's annoying that she isn't here. I can't even enjoy my meal like that. This. I stare at the paper cup next to her, still half full of juice. But you didn't want all this food to go to waste. I wanted Misha to be here too. That was the whole point. I wasn't able to accomplish what I wanted to, so it doesn't taste good. You should eat it. Eat more. I want the fried things though. You keep eating them all, even though you say they don't taste good. Fried things are always delicious. There's always an exception for them. You'll get fat. I think you're being too aggressive. It's like I told you yesterday. I'm only trying to cheer her up. Yeah, but it seems more like you're planning a military campaign. I'm only trying to take it seriously. And this is the only way I know how to do it seriously. Well, despite the fact that her family isn't really being brought up, like after seeing them, that was obviously the main context to kind of show what her life is like back home, so it kind of shows like that's the only way she knows how to deal with things, because her father is like all business-like, isn't it? I feel so powerless. I hate it. I can't even yell at her too, even though I want to. Yelling is for serious occasions, right? Yeah. You should yell at Misha for me. You can tell her that I want her to stop being so down, even if she feels sad and alone. It's no reason to stay gloomy forever. It's just like a silent moment. I just kind of do that kind of shrug to it, but you can't see me doing that. Why don't you? I mean, like when someone's depressed, that's something you just don't say, isn't it? You don't go up to someone who's depressed and like, oh, don't get over it. It's easier said than done, man. I already did. Over a game of dice. Under over to be exact. I won 5 times. Only the 2 of them would take so much pride in winning games of pure chance. Then I tried to talk to her, but it didn't go so well, obviously. Well, so did I. I tried and failed. My goal has always been to do everything better, though. Yeah, your one-upmanship is really something. But I failed to. That's why I want your help. I don't understand what I'm supposed to do anymore. For someone like Shizune, who has only ever interacted with the world by locking horns with every obstacle in her path, understanding only goes so far. I would tell her that she doesn't have to worry, that she is cheering people up because she managed to cheer me up my first week here. In retrospect, I must have looked like kind of a dick, being in such a sour mood from the moment I came here, even though I don't think I was being unreasonable. Even having months to digest it, finding out that you have a heart defect like I did is hard to deal with. And I'd had much less time to mull over something suddenly being transferred to Yamato on top of that. Spending the festival with Shizune really helped me out of a rut. I was happy enough to forget that the entire time it had felt as though she were manipulating me. I understand now that I'd allowed myself to be manipulated. Even though I felt like I was at the bottom of the world, I still wanted to have a normal life again, I'm sure, because I enjoyed what I have now. I think it must be the same for everyone, including Misha. Everyone wants someone there to pull them up out of their self-pity. It's just that Misha always wanted Shizune to be that person. Because they can't be together, I think Misha feels that she can't accept Shizune's hand, and that frustrates Shizune. But if she could cheer up a stranger like me, then she'll die trying with Misha. I can see it in her eyes too. Though she tries to treat it like any other problem in her life, Shizune cannot do that with Misha's depression. The thought process are entirely different. In some ways more careful, in some ways more reckless and frantic. She cares that much more. I end up not saying anything, partly because sitting next to her like this, just the 2 of us, is pleasant enough in itself that I don't want to interrupt the moment with a question. Partly for a more cowardly reason. I started to think they weren't, but I don't know if her actions that day might not have been an afterthought, or even a fluke, just a collection of coincidences. I don't know if that would change anything, but I'm uncomfortable thinking about it. The fence behind me trembles slightly, and I turn to see that it's because Shizune has fallen asleep leaning against it. Considering she was up all night, it's not surprising. Where does all that motivation come from? Not just in regards to Misha. I'm cynical, so it's hard for me to just accept that anyone can simply be that strong. My first thought was that maybe it's because she hates herself. It's very plausible. Leaning against her, I feel sad knowing that might be the case. But it could be that we're similar in that we both want to be better people. This route is longer than I thought it would be. It's because think in terms shuffle back to that again. When the routes actually begun, they felt like they were over in 3 parts. This route's been going on for ages, it feels like. But then again, all of them feel that way, I think. Seems like I ate too much yesterday because I wake up in the morning feeling just nauseous enough for it to be a problem. I really can't postpone going to town for shopping though, so despite wanting to roll over and sleep it away, I force myself to get up and dress instead. Somewhere between buying toothpaste and a few other groceries, I end up walking it off. And then I feel hungry. After stopping for breakfast, it hits me how much time has gone by. I hadn't expected to be out this long at all. I'm not even sure if I bothered to lock my door. I should really get back. What the fuck? When I get back to the dorm, I see Hideaki standing in front of my room from the entrance. I can think a few things more unexpected, and I can't help thinking I might have a heart attack just from the surprise. Fortunately, it doesn't happen. You know, why didn't I think that this could have been a possibility where at least, well, maybe even both of them are there, where maybe they visited the school at some point later in the route. As soon as he sees me, he says hello in his usual detached way. I'm a little slow to reply to him, so he repeats the greeting without missing a beat. Hello. Something wrong. And I'm just surprised to see you here. Not as surprised as I could have been, since it's impossible to mistake him for anyone else. I'd recognize those weird clothes anywhere. Come to think of it, I've really surrounded myself with distinctive-looking people lately. Hideaki's head lolled slightly to one side, a little too easily. Why, is it unusual to see someone's family come to see them? Well, yeah, actually. So, Hideaki isn't such a robot after all. In fact, it's almost as if he's more caught off guard by the fact he then can be caught off guard, but he recovers quickly. Nevertheless, in that brief moment, he looks his age. That uncomfortable side of his seems like the more honest, and I wouldn't mind seeing more of it. Not so much, though, that I'd go out of my way to pry. Only Shizune would be that serious. That's my thoughts get so far as proof she is rubbing off on me. I think that you'd have a reason, that's all. There is one. See? Anyway, we can talk while we're looking for her. That's why you're here, right? Shizune is in the student council room. I was looking for you. You might take a trip soon. Family trip. I think she would want to come with us. Yeah, I don't know. She's kind of been on the warpath lately with a lot of stuff. Once she's focused on something, she won't just drop it. Guess you would know that. Hideaki looks much more at ease walking around than I did my first week. So, this isn't your first time here. Just throwing it out there, of course, completely ignoring the surrounding environment, could just run in the family. It explains why Hideaki seems so distant from Shizune. I get the feeling there's more to it than just her deafness. No, but it's the first time I could walk around so much. It's kind of weird here. I bumped into a person who told me women are not allowed in the dorms. After I told him another woman he told me I was misleading and then accused me of being an assassin. I was warned that he was not only invincible but strong enough to probably destroy the building with a punch or at least knock over the painting hanging in the hallway. By the way, that painting is actually screwed to the wall. You know, I bet it was Kenji that he ran into. Yeah, that's the guy across from the hall from me. He's okay, except a bit awfully paranoid. I see. Oh, you left your door open. It was unlocked when I came here. I'm a little annoyed that Hideaki knows that. The only way he could is if he had opened my door. But the feeling passes. It doesn't matter. I'm nothing to hide or steal. Your soccer ball is real nice. That's one of the things that doesn't matter. If you're a soccer player, soccer ball is very important. Yes it is. Therefore it makes me smile. I'm here because my father bought a new phone and he wanted to update Shizune in case she needs to call him. About that she should know too, since you're her boyfriend, aren't you? Yeah. Why? Just in case there's something wrong or she needs anything. It isn't what I meant, but I'll go going wherever. Even if she did, she probably wouldn't call. That's how she is. Well, if you know, coming all the way here for that though, he could have updated her via email. Does not like using emails. That's so old-fashioned. Don't tell me he still does business through regular mail or something. Silence. Now it's my turn to feel awkward. Is Hideaki taking it literally, or did I hit the mark? Now I'm sure that what it really comes down to is that he does want to see his daughter and stay in contact with her. In the end, they're still family after all, even though they play at being at each other's throats. And pretty much anyone outside of family as well. The door to the student council room is open and Hideaki and I walk in on Jigoro in mid-rant. He sees us but decides that it's not something worth stopping rambling at Shizune over. This is really shaking my faith in my previous assumption. When I was in the student council, our room was smaller, colder too, like working out of a meat locker. Not like you spoiled kids. What a waste, sitting here in your giant room doing nothing. Aren't there only 3 of you? That makes having so many desks only seem like an unnecessary display of mindless insolence. Appalling. You might use the desk you need and not one more. It's part of my code. Maybe odd of me to think so, but hearing only one half of a conversation is pretty strange. Also, that's some code. Now that I've arrived, he changes the subject and starts talking about the reason he's here. What reason is he here? Well, it's the phone thing. There's probably more to it than that. But since this recording's gone on for so long, I'm gonna call it the recording there. Although I am curious to see how all this plays out. But whatever. I'll see you next time, viewers. See you next time.